Alright, Shalom, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi, Bahashim, Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to our teachers, the apostles, and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to the brothers labor worldwide in truth and sincerity. Salutations and blessings to the hopeful elect, believing on the words of Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashi. Coming at you with another lesson, Lord willing is edifying. In this lesson, we're going to focus on the pestilence that the Lord is bringing to Babylon the Great. And the Lord said he was going to do these things, going to bring us out of Egypt by way of these certain plagues. Matter of fact, let's start there. And we'll play this video. For the Lord promised he was going to, plague this place. So this is 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, and I'm going to start at verse 10. It says, "Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt." Right, our Lord Yahawashi is speaking on the elect, that he's not going to suffer to dwell or hang their hat here in the land of Egypt. It says, "But I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, and smite Egypt with plagues as before, and will destroy all the land thereof." Right. So we know that ancient Egypt land wasn't destroyed. So this could only be speaking toward America, Babylon the Great, that this place is slated to be a desolate wilderness wasteland. All right. And we're seeing these things come to pass by the way of these prophecies are being fulfilled right before our eyes. All right. Now, I have a couple of videos, a collage of videos that I put together regarding the pestilence that the Lord is bringing forth to America, Babylon the Great, man. So, let's play the videos.
Arizona man dies of plague. A man from northern Arizona has died after unknowingly living. Arizona man dies of plague. A man from northern Arizona has died after unknowingly living with the bubonic plague for nearly a month without treatment. Officials say he only sought medical attention when his symptoms became too severe, but by then it was too late. The plague, caused by Yersinia pestis, is typically transmitted by fleas that have fed on infected wild rodents like prairie dogs, squirrels, or rats. It can also spread through direct contact with infected animals or inhaling respiratory droplets in rare cases. In his region, there had been recent die-offs in prairie dog populations, a known warning sign. What makes this case even more alarming is how long the man unknowingly carried the bacteria, possibly exposing others without realizing it. Plague isn't just a relic of history, it's still present in the rural Southwest, and without rapid antibiotics, it can turn deadly fast. With ecosystems shifting and wildlife patterns changing, are we seeing early warnings of something much bigger? Is something stirring in the Southwest that we've been ignoring?
4 people have died from a flesh-eating bacteria in Florida. According to the Florida Department of Health, Vibrio vulnificus is a flesh-eating bacterium that normally lives in warm seawater. So far, 11 cases have been confirmed in 2025, with 4 deaths, the department said. People can get infected with Vibrio vulnificus when they eat raw shellfish, particularly oysters, or if they have open wounds or are in contact with seawater. Some tips to avoid the bacteria are: do not eat raw oysters or other raw shellfish, cook shellfish, avoid raw shellfish harvested from warm salt or brackish water, wear protective clothing when handling raw shellfish, and if you have a fresh cut or scrape, do not enter the water. 4 people have died.
2025 is now the worst year for measles cases in this country in more than 3 decades. That's according to new data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. More than 150 people have been hospitalized due to the growing outbreak, and 3 have died, including 2 unvaccinated children in Texas. To help us break down the new data, we're joined now by Dr. Adam Ratner. He's a member of the Committee on Infectious Diseases of the American Academy of Pediatrics and the author of Booster Shots: shots, the urgent lessons of measles, and the uncertain future of children's health. Dr. Ratner, thanks for joining us. So when we say it's the worst year in all those years, here's just a quick look at the numbers. The national case count reached 1,288 on Wednesday. That is across 38 states. There have been 162 hospitalizations. About half of those are children under the age of 5. Doctor, put that into context for us. How do these numbers compare to years past?
Right. So this is the largest number of cases in more than 30 years. It goes back to before we had eliminated measles from the United States, which happened in the year 2000. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, we had large outbreaks in a number of cities, and that's when we had these really high case counts, and we're rivaling those numbers now. So this is a really disappointing milestone we've hit.
And the year is only half over at this point. Do you expect this trend to continue?
I mean, I think that the case numbers this year have really been driven by the outbreak in West Texas and New Mexico. That appears to be slowing down, but I think it's alarming that we have measles in many states now, and I'm concerned that there will be other unvaccinated communities where measles gets in and starts to spread.
All right, you see, Yahawashi is moving on this place, man. And these are more symptoms that this kingdom is coming to its end. Right? This first one regarding the bubonic plague, it said this guy had it for over a month. So who did he come in contact with, man? Who actually received those same symptoms? Now, he didn't equate it with a plague until the symptom was all upon him suddenly. When he just felt like something was wrong. He had the disease for a substantial number of time, but then what? He went to the doctors to see about his condition, and he died suddenly, man. But that's just the Lord Yahawah making good on his word, sending plagues to Egypt as before. And you can expect these things to intensify. You can expect these things to continue to grow in their perfection, And people will say, well, there wasn't no bubonic plague in the time of Egypt. No, but the results are still the same. It's bringing straight distress and calamity upon the inhabitants of the land, man. And again, our Lord prophesied of these things. Let's get St. Matthew. St. Matthew, chapter 24, and verse 3. And as he sat on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Yahawashi answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am anointed, and shall deceive many. Yeah, we're seeing that. All right. The latest case, Alizé, he was coming like he was one of the anointed, and he deceived many, man. But now he professing he's not a Hebrew Israelite anymore. The Lord took his word out of his mouth. It says, And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. City should be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right? The MOTB, that micro CHIP, has to be implemented before World War III kicks off in its fullness. It says, For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrow. So yeah, we can expect more cases to pop up in the news media. As they stated, the year is halfway done, and it's the worst outbreak of measles in 30 years, man. And that's what we're seeing. These unprecedented numbers being pushed forth these 1 in 1,000 year floods happening in certain states and cities. Well, that's Yahawah visiting this place. Now I want to get this word pestilence, if we can. You know, but the Lord said there's going to be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. All right, that word pestilence, it says pestilence, a pestilence fellow, pest, plague. See that? Yeah, so these certain bird flus, you know, these certain bubonic plagues, these measles, you know, these flesh eating diseases. Yeah, that's all of your how about shower shot, man. All right, and what I noticed regarding this flesh eating disease is contracted through open wounds, but also through eating raw shellfish, man, which the Lord explicitly tells us not to do. You know, but it's showing you that the things that Esau puts forth is truly death, because you're gonna die from this, man. You know, but you see, these plagues are actually increasing. Again, it says measles cases surged to the highest levels in 30 years. CDC data shows. See that? And that ain't by happenstance. That ain't just by chance. No, that's Yahawah Shah plague in this place. You know? Now I want to get this word pestilence if we can. Right? That word pestilence, it says a fatal epidemic disease. See that? Especially bubonic plague. And what do we just see? The guy in Arizona died of what? A bubonic plague. Where he had it over a month, and there's no certainty of who he came in contact with. You know? And he didn't think he had anything until the symptoms got worse. And when he went to see about the symptoms, it was nothing they could do. The same day he checked in is the same day he checked out. You see? So we're witnessing the end of this man's system by way of the plagues. All right? This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49. Before we get that, let's get an account of a plague that the Lord brought upon Egypt. Okay? Exodus chapter 9 and verse 8. And the Lord spake unto Moses and to Aaron, Take to you handfuls of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward the heaven in the sight of Pharaoh. And it shall become small dust in all the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beasts throughout all the land of Egypt. See that? So the Lord sent a plague of boils, man. You know, a plague. That's a very terrible thing, man. Boils, you know. And they took ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it toward heaven, and it became a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beasts. Now I want to look at this word blains right quick. You know, and that was a horrible, man. Can you imagine boils all over your body? You know, that word blains. It says blisters, boils. It says from root to swell up. So these boils end up popping, man. You know, pus dripping out. You know, hey, those measles. It says an inflammatory pustule down here in the Strongs. It says an inflammatory pustule as eruption. See that? So yeah, man, the Lord is sending plagues as before. Let's go back. All right, Exodus chapter 9 and verse 9, and it shall become small dust in all the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beast throughout all the land of Egypt. And they shall, and they should, slack, I'm a little excited. And they took ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it up toward heaven, and it became a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils. See that? for the boils, for the boils was upon the magicians. See that? And upon all the Egyptians. So the Lord again made a distinction between Egypt and Israel, man. And the Lord's going to do that in this time where he's going to make a distinction between the elect of the nation of Israel and everybody else. You see? And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hearkened not unto them as the Lord had spoken unto Moses. And we're seeing that, right? Well, Esau is being hardened toward the children of Israel, more importantly toward the elect of the children of Israel. But you see these things pushing forth. These certain calamities, Jeremiah chapter 49. I'm going to start at verse 7. It says, concerning Edom, thus saith the Lord of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Yeah, we can exclusively say, yeah, their wisdom is vanishing. The decisions that they're making are all the incorrect decisions to keep a kingdom functioning and going. Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of the Dan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. And we're clearly in the visitation of Esau Edom. All right, so let's get this word calamity. All right, this word calamity, it says distress. See that? Burden, calamity. So these certain plagues, these pestilence that the Lord is bringing is causing the distress to this place. It's a burden, you know. It says burden of the righteous, calamity of nation, disaster of wicked. Yeah, these things are going to be disastrous to the wicked, man. It says day of calamity, right? It says in the Strongs, in the sense of bending down. Yeah, the Lord is now causing Esau to bow down, man. You know? It says oppression, by implication, misfortune, ruin, see? Calamity, destruction. So the Lord is taking away the structure of this place. And he's doing it by the way of the place. These are more signs that our captivity is coming to an end. You see? So I pray this has been edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahawah Bahashem, Yahawashi Bahashem, Rawchaa, Qadash. Double honors to our teachers, the apostles, and elders of Great Millstone. Till the next time, Shalom.